There is one skill that every successful person I have ever met, particularly executives, have down pat. With this one skill, you can thrive.
In a world where you want to be successful, you need one thing.
We're gonna look at 3 very successful people and how they implement this one thing.
Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, Stephen Covey.
That's right. And this one thing actually replaces the need to really focus on time management, because this thing solves time management. Before I share with you, my name is Selinger. I'm an award-winning magician and illusionist, a speaker. I did a TEDx talk. I own a production company. I'm an award-winning filmmaker, and I've used all these skills to help corporations understand creativity and help executives really understand how to thrive within their role. I am sharing those ideas like this one with you here, free of charge. Oh, and at the very end of this video, I'm going to share with you a little secret that I use to make this sing in my life. I think you're really gonna dig it, but the thing that all of these executives, all these successful people do extremely well is
it's prioritization.
Now first, why does it matter that you focus on this versus just putting time systems in place? The reason is if you just put systems in place without this, it's like having a structure with nothing to fill it with. One of the things that prioritization brings to executives, first and foremost, it helps them focus on what really matters. Because sometimes we have things thrown at us that don't matter, and sometimes we obsess about things that don't move the needle for us, so it really helps you focus on what really matters. The second is if you have a clear priority list, you reduce stress. Stress reduction is huge when you feel like you're doing the right things in the right order. The third is better decision making. When you have better strategy for decision making, you naturally have less distractions, which means you're gonna be better headspace to make decisions on what you need to do in your day for the tasks you need to get done. And the fourth is amazing. It's increased productivity. It's amazing when you actually plan what you need to do next, when you actually prioritize your day, prioritize your tasks, your completion level goes way up. I don't know if you've ever experienced this in your life, but if you follow what I am going to teach you today, what I'm going to share with you today, it is so dead simple. It's such a simple idea. But if you follow it, you will see your productivity, your completion rate just go whoosh. Before I get to the tool that I'm going to teach you, let's go through those 3 executives that we mentioned at the beginning of the video and some thoughts they've had on prioritization. The first is Warren Buffett, CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, and he has a very unique way looking at tasks. He's famous for having this thing called the rule of 5. So basically what he does is he makes a list of 25 things he wants to accomplish or get done or priorities, and then he narrows it down to only 5. He only picks 5 of those things that are really singing to him, and he only focuses on those 5. By doing this, he eliminates things that don't contribute to his core goals. He evaluates the things, this mass number of things that he wants to do, or maybe feels like he needs to do, and he just narrows it down to 5. It's his ruthless focus on high impact activities that has kept him at the top of his game all the way to this day. And he has this great quote, listen to this. The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything. The second is Jeff Bezos, who's of course the founder and CEO of Amazon, and he uses a methodology that I guess we'd call it a long-term thinking approach. When prioritizing things that he feels he needs to get done, what he does is focus on things that will have a long-term effect. Things that are going to really move the needle well into the future. Things that are not going to be significant into the future, he delegates those and only focuses on the things that are going to really make a difference long term. These, of course, have had tremendous impact on the growth of Amazon, and it demonstrates that he does not get bossed around by the urgent, but he really focuses on that long perspective, and he's playing the long game, and that may be a reason why he's been so successful. One of his great quotes is, "If I make 3 good decisions a day, that's enough." And the third is Stephen Covey, who wrote a book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And he developed a matrix, which the pattern that we're going to learn in a minute is actually based on, and he called it the management matrix. With this matrix, what Stephen Covey really focuses on are prioritizing tasks that are not urgent but are extremely important. By this, he is not ruled by this idea called the tyranny of the urgent, which I believe is a Zig Ziglar idea. Because he's focusing on long-term success rather than immediate needs, what he has is a forward-thinking perspective that allows people that follow this process to really accomplish things well into the future rather than get bogged down by the tyranny of the urgent, that those nagging things that just really seem to suck away your life. His great quote is, "The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities." Now, what we're going to talk about today is called the Eisenhower Matrix. I'm going to explain it to you. Then I'm going to give you a 4-step process to implement it. And then, of course, as I said at the end of the video, I'm going to give you this little secret sauce that I use to accomplish things that just make my days sing. The Eisenhower Matrix is a tool that helps leaders prioritize their tasks in terms of what is urgent and what is important. There are 4 quadrants. In the first quadrant are the things that are both important and urgent. These are the things that need immediate attention. These are the crises. These are the fires that you need to put out. And let's face it, if you are a high-functioning executive or you have a demanding job or you're running your own business, there is always a fire that needs putting out. And you have to put them out, otherwise everything's going to burn down. So that's the first quadrant. The second quadrant are the things that are important but not urgent. Now, Bezos and Covey have demonstrated that this is actually the most important quadrant to stay in because it allows you to have long-term thinking and accomplish things that are going to get you to your destination well into the future. So important but not urgent is where we want to spend most of our time. The next are the things that are urgent but not important. You know, the fires that other people seem to have, but they're really not your fires. They're not your concern. They're big worries, and they're super urgent, but they're not actually all that important. In the Eisenhower Matrix, these are the things that you delegate to other people. They need to get done, but not by you. And the last thing in the quadrant is the things that are neither urgent nor important. Now, what do you think you should do with these? You eliminate them. If it's not urgent and it's not important, why are you worrying about it at all? Just strike it off your list. By prioritizing things in this quadrant, you get a real grasp on what you need to focus on so you could really move the needle for long-term growth. Again, the thing that most successful executives focus on are the things that are not urgent but are important, that are going to really move things forward as we look forward into the future. So let's put this into practice. I'm going to give you 4 steps to implement this with your life and your tasks today. Here we go. Step 1 is you need to brain dump. You need to just get all the things on paper, all the things that are nagging you that you feel like you need to get done. Just spend 5 minutes and list them. Just list them out. About everything from answering your emails to the big picture goals. Get them all on a list so that you can deal with them. Step 2 is to categorize. Actually look at each one of those things and put them in one of the 4 quadrants. One of the things that may help you is get a piece of paper, make the quadrants, and write the tasks on sticky notes when you're originally writing them out. And so you could put them into the 4 quadrants and evaluate them by looking at a chart. Step 3 is take a look at your schedule and time block. Create time for the things that are not urgent but are important. Put them in your schedule because you're going to probably have to go put out some fires, and that's okay. But when you come back, go back to your schedule, go back to your time blocking so you can get done the things that are going to really move you into the future. Like a great example of an urgent thing that I need to pay attention to before I film my next video is charging the light that was lighting up my backdrop that just dropped off. So I may take care of that, but I'm going to time block the things that are important and not urgent. Now, here's the thing. If you actually go through the process of doing this Eisenhower Matrix, say once a week, I mean, doing it every day may be a lot, but if you did it once a week, say on Fridays, you got out your pen and your sticky notes and you quickly made an Eisenhower matrix of the things that you need to do next week, it is really going to help you hit the ground running next week so you could really get ahead of the tasks that are both urgent and really time block the things that are going to move things forward and get rid of those things. Get rid of those things that are just weighing you down. Prioritization isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. So I want to challenge you to do this for just 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks to the Eisenhower Matrix and see how you feel. And as promised, I'm going to share with you something that I use in the not urgent but important aspect. Even tasks in the important aspect that aren't urgent, some of those tasks aren't fun to do. So how do you make sense of the tasks that are a little bit heavier lifting versus the tasks that really, really fire you up? Here's a little thing that I do. I call it the Zig Zag method. What a lot of people suggest is the thing you need to do first is get the most difficult tasks done first, get them out of the way. Then you're going to be doing the tasks that you want to do, at the end, and it's going to be a lot more fun. But I have found this to be the absolute worst thing to do. And the reason is because I lose all kinds of energy. I finish this really difficult task that I really don't want to do. And by the time I'm done it, man, I'm just burned out. Like, I just don't want to do anything else. I have no energy. So this little method I'm going to teach you, the Zig Zag method, is how I keep the energy up. The first thing I do is the task on my list that fires me up the most, the one that I am so excited to get to and I just want to do next. I do that first because it gives me energy and momentum. Then the second task I do is a more difficult task, maybe even the most difficult task. I do that one second because I'm coming into it having crushed something, feeling really good about myself, having all this momentum, and then I am able to get a lot more headway with that difficult task. And then when I've completed that task, I go back to doing something that I really want to do again. And I kind of go back and forth between the ones that I find most delightful and the ones that I find most heavy. This little zigzag method is freaking gold. It's what has absolutely allowed me to be as productive as I am and as creative as I am because I give myself momentum. Now, if you're sitting there looking at your tasks and you're doubting yourself, you're like, I don't know if I could step up to this possibility, you really need to watch this video next because it's all about the story of how I've had self-doubt. In fact, every successful person has had self-doubt. This is really going to help you out. Watch that next. Till next time, live bright, love big.